Well, in a time of frustration and confusion in the world, you need a moment to sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself to the peaceful and quiet sounds of the English countryside during maybe possibly the 1800s. I'm not too sure. I'm not really much of a historian, but I love historical stuff and I love to learn about the world as it was and how things came to be. Now, you may have remembered a game way back in the day called Stronghold. And if you're like me who loves medieval stuff and that game was stellar, and I've always hoped for a modern recreation of it. Now, sadly, the Stronghold series has appeared to get absolutely fucker nutted. So, I mean, this is one of the things that you're going to have to consider that you're probably not going to get a good Stronghold remake. Well, luckily there is a game that has come by that is quite amazing. In fact, I think it's probably one of the best ones to come along in a long time as far as cities and castles and all types of things. The game is called Farthest Frontier on Steam. It's early access and there's been updates and changes along the way. And there's probably some things to be changed and mastered out of this. Now, it's to a T almost a Stronghold spiritual successor, almost in the veins of Cities Skylines to Sims City. And I love it when they do these because if the original devs aren't going to do justice to this type of game that we love, we have to go for what we really love. And this game is hailed for me. Now, when I first bought this game, I was a little hesitant. I didn't really know the mechanics. I was finding it a little hard and difficult. But as I started to master it, it takes on a deeply satisfying gameplay loop that is just almost too addicting. You can't stop playing it. And that's one of the things amazing about it. Sometimes you like to just kind of kick back and watch your village unfold and people go about their days. And those are the kind of the things I love. Now, I always wish there was a game where we could kind of make villages and towns like Oblivion on that level of 3D, but this is pretty close. The graphics are great. It kind of reminds me in some ways of Warcraft 3. Um, just the way the units look and the way that the buildings and everything comes together. Now, is by no means a conventional strategy game. It's high city building, and you watch your little peasants go about their day, do exactly what jobs they have, and they have a little inventory, and everything is very, very cool. There's combat system, there's systems with rats, there's systems with fucking mechanics and economies. It's all a little bit daunting to the average person, but if you're a strategy aficionado like me and enjoy games like Tropico, you're in for a major treat here. And this is a game that's just kind of pretty recent, but fucking hats off to the devs. This is an amazing game. I'd give it a solid 9.8 out of 10. Just because under the guise of, I've always kind of wanted a game like this, you know? I've always kind of thought that they could do better than Stronghold has done. And I've been waiting for a game like this, and they finally get it. Now, there's seasons in this. There's all kinds of new mechanics that were never in the original Stronghold. But I think in many ways they do it better than what could be expected. It's generally just a very fun game to play. Now, before we go any further on why I gave it such a high rating, I want to go immediately point the art style out. The game's fucking fantastic. It's amazing looking. It truly is a work of art, and the way that things change from the seasons and whatnot is just really goes to show how beautiful the engine is that they created. So kick back and watch your village unfold, and there's several difficulties meters. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to point out something I noticed. The difficulty on normal settings, it's fucking brutal. And you might want to start on something a little easier because I found the raids, the animals, the economy, I found everything on just like the normal standard difficulty, which I was kind of trying playing around with the different settings, but I wanted to see if I can master the normal difficulty, and it's very hard, I found. Particularly the raids, which annoyingly happen a little too often, and there is also massive amounts of units. They kind of just overload you with it. And if they could tweak that little setting to it, the overall challenge and difficulty of normal medium difficulty is really what brought this down to 9.2 points for me. Um, very, very frustrating, especially because when you get your town going, you really want to see it succeed, and they hammer you with that. Now, for my next couple playthroughs, we'll see. I may potentially play it harder, may potentially play it easier, but I found some difficulties, so don't be off put by the daunting challenge. I haven't lost the village yet, despite fucking killing all kinds of people, but you'll get a steep learning curve as well as a pretty difficult scenarios to overcome throughout the game. And yeah, other than that, everything's perfect. I mean, the systems and mechanics are enjoyable. The graphics are beautiful. The enjoyment factor you get out of it, stellar. Wonderful game. Just a game that when you have nothing to do but sit and play video games, it's just a wonderful experience. And this is what games like The Sims and Jurassic World Evolution 2 and all these types of games really do, is that there's not really competition, so to speak, but there's just manage little problems along the way, get to watch your city grow and develop, and that is one of the fantastic things. The village that I have up here going, the gray square, has gotten an amazing upgrade over the years, and I brought it right to the upper tiers. And that's kind of like the gameplay aspect of it, but I really like the idea of kind of historically how everything seems to work naturally and realistically, and it's a very believable experience. And role playing is amazing. I mean, you can take your little guys and go off on a little adventure, and then send them back to their homes to stock up food and get prepared for the day-to-day events. It's fucking dope. Again, a great addition to the game is that there is actual functional combat system. And if you remember from Stronghold, it was just fucking brutal. The guys would like stack, and it was really archaic and kind of, and even the newer Stronghold games are similar in ways and fashions. And they didn't do that with this game. They improved massively on the combat system, as you see your little guys attack and then take realistic damage based upon their stats and what they have, and those types of things, almost to the point where there's little battles, although I wouldn't say that the battle system is on par with, the Total War series, or, something a little bit better. It's very simple, but it's better. It's simply better than the annoyances of the other, like Warcraft and stuff like that. Games like this have to be celebrated, and the reason for that is that not everybody wants a COD-y, shooty, Fortnite-y clusterfuck of a competition where everybody's fighting and everybody's trying to get the most points and stats. And with these games, you can kind of just sit back and just watch it all happen, and there's not really any major. I don't know, anything major hanging over your heads. Now, a cool thing with this, and I don't know if the devs are considering it, but I wouldn't really mind a multiplayer. If there was up to 4 people you could play on a map, and your towns could interact and even potentially trade and do stuff, that would be a wonderful addition to this game, and I don't know if it's possible with the engine at this moment. But, I mean, just think of how cool it could be even if potentially taken to the next level here is you could have things like different cultures and different societies interacting with each other. Maybe do different clans or something like that, where the buildings take on a little difference. It's all very ambitious stuff, but I think what we have here with the base game is very good. It's a 9.8 out of 10. You'll get a little annoyed by the difficulty and learning curve, but other than that, it's an utterly perfect city building sim, and a wonderful spiritual successor to Stronghold. I would recommend this game 100%, 155%.